What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Fight Hour podcast with Alan Mike. Today we'll be doing the aftermath of UFC 309, which was this weekend just gone. Some good fights, some not so good fights, but a lot of the fights meant big things for their own divisions. So we'll dive in at the top of the card, Mike. We'll dive in at the main events. Stipe v Jones. What did you think initially of Stipe and Jones?
Thought the fight played out kind of how we all thought it would, and how the media had suggested it would, and how the bookies had said it would as well.
Yeah.
Don't think it was particularly a competitive fight. It was nowhere near as competitive fight as it would have been if it happened 5, 6 years ago. I think Jones looked not in his old self, but he looked somewhat closer. He was probably 70% of his old self, whereas Stipe was less than 20% of his old self. Stipe was gun shy and everything. I've never seen Stipe gun shy.
Yeah. Yeah, Stipe looked old in there for me.
Yeah, very.
Quite a few people have said that, haven't he? Looked old in
Yeah.
there. I still weren't that impressed with John Jones, like, to be honest.
No.
He moves weird. He moves like he's fat, and he's not.
Yeah.
Obviously, he's carrying more weight, but he's not like a massive heavyweight.
Yeah. What Jones has always had throughout his career, he's got a full arsenal of skills. There's not a skill he hasn't got, and that's obviously always a bit daunting for the opponent. And he showed his full array of skills on Stipe, but he's definitely not the fighter he was. And I think, given Stipe, if they'd have both been how they were 5, 6 years ago, it would have been a lot closer. And I still probably back then would have fancied Jones to win the fight, but Stipe's just a shell of the man he was.
Yeah, I mean that's a long layoff at that age as well. But I mean, next for obviously there's loads to talk about what's next now with Jones and Aspinall.
Yeah.
It's impossible to make heads or tails of it because in one breath he says one thing, in the next breath he says another thing. You've got Dana saying one thing, got John Jones saying another thing, and then even Dana's kind of going back a little bit on what he said. If you had to bet now, do you think it's John v Tom next?
Honestly, I don't know. As you say, I can't make any sense of what's going on. If it's negotiation, then okay. But if it's not, it's not really what John Jones has stood for right throughout his career. He's fought everybody and he's fought the who's who. But I don't know. I don't know if I see him in there with Aspinall. I don't know if I see him taking that risk.
Yeah.
He's sort of coming across to me like sort of Mayweather towards the end of his career, and where he waited for Pacquiao until Pacquiao was almost done. He fought Canelo when Canelo was a child. I feel like John Jones is kind of at that stage of his career. I've seen him mentioning Derek Lewis and people like that. Like, that's just wild.
Yeah, I'm taking that as him saying people a bit negotiating in public, like I said on the last one. I think it happens. And the only thing I'm going off is initially what Dana said and Tom Aspinall's YouTube video where he's just had a meeting with Dana.
Yeah.
After Dana's done the press conference and he comes out and says there's big news soon. Some good things are coming basically, and to be fair, that can mean he's fighting for the undisputed title against. Maybe Dana's just said that to him, but I want to take it as he's fighting John Jones.
That's exactly what my counter was to that point. I think John's had a meeting with Dana and Hunter where he's been told explicitly you are fighting for the undisputed title next. I don't think he's been told you are fighting John Jones next.
Yeah.
But we all knew that anyway. You can't be a defending interim champion and not fight for the belt next. It's just whether John Jones wants to hang around and catch them hands off Tom Aspinall. But the thing for me with it all is it kind of overshadowed the whole week. And I know there was people out there seeing Chael saying like Jones isn't giving this Aspinall situation attention because he doesn't want to be thinking about it when he's going in to fight a killer like Stipe. Now, I think the total opposite. He gave it too much attention the other way. If he was going to ignore it, then ignore it. But he gave it too much attention, give Tom well too much attention. It was all about Tom the whole week.
Yeah. It was weird that, like, when he walked out of the interview with Adam Castle.
Yeah.
And stuff like it was a bit mad. Like, I can get his reasoning as well. Like, he's been questioned about it or whatever.
Yeah.
But he did bring it up on multiple occasions himself when you see him in interviews.
Yeah.
So I agree. I think he gave way too much attention to it. And I think like having Tom there the whole week as the backup fighter and even like in the events on the night, I reckon that did weigh on him. And then obviously he's got the job done quite handy. But like I said, I weren't particularly like impressed by it. Where I'm like, oh yeah, this John Jones. For me,
no,
I'm not saying it's one-sided, but I still think Tom wins that fight. There's nothing that's jumping out at me that's like kind of like, no, it's going to go the other way now. I think Tom's going to be too fast for him. He's more rounded as a heavyweight, I'd say, in terms of fighting. Now, that's going to sound mad. But at light heavyweight, I think Jon Jones is way more rounded. But with the extra weight carrying, he just looks different to me. He just doesn't move as well. I don't know why he's not as fluid.
It's age and ring rust as well, isn't it? They can easily be a factor as well as the additional weight. Like there's a lot extra going into his fights now. But for me, there's like two sides. There's two sides to every coin, and like Jon Jones has got as much credit in the bank as anybody ever in the UFC. If it so happens that he sees his future as just having a couple more legacy fights and he wants to sort of fight heavyweights with a name, or he wants to fight a light heavyweight like Alex Pereira, that's absolutely sound. Just let the belt go. Don't hold the belt at ransom. If Jon Jones says next week, I'm fighting Alex Pereira and I'm relinquishing the belt, it's not for the heavyweight belt, it's a 220-pound catchweight fight, I'm all in. But just relinquish that heavyweight belt. Don't hold the division hostage.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't mind the shout of him saying, after this, I want legacy fights, because he said, I'll relinquish the belt. And everyone was like, oh, he's running scared of Aspinall. And that was probably the only one where I thought, nah, to be fair, he's earned that. Like, if he wants to go, if he wants to do these mad fights, fair enough, he's absolutely earned it. But then he threw Derek Lewis out there, and who was the other one that he said? Like, just someone bizarre. Can't even remember now. But again, it was someone, and it weren't Pereira.
Yeah, he said a stupid heavyweight or something, didn't he? Or did he say? No, he said it was a light heavyweight, weren't he? He mentioned a light heavyweight. I'm sure he did.
But it was. I don't want to hold this up, but it was someone else daft anyway. Yeah. They're not legacy fights then. They're cherry pick fight that you take with you. And yeah, it just. I liked there was an interview. There was a journalist rather in the press conference midweek. Sorry, when it's just one-on-one with the fighter.
Yeah.
He said, like, do you not think that Tom Aspinall deserves a chance at the heavyweight championship? And he basically said, like, no, he doesn't deserve it. He hasn't done what I've done. And the journalist countered and said, well, actually, he's finished 7 of the top 10. 6 of them by finish, blah, blah, blah. Sorry, no, all of them by finish, sorry. The time he spent in the octagon, this, that, the other. When you fought Shogun for the title, you hadn't won against that many top 10 opponents, this, that, the other. But, like, put it to him in a nice way, because you're not going to say Jon Jones, are you? And you could tell he was a bit like, oh shit, yeah, I've said the wrong word. And he was like, okay, maybe deserving isn't the word, but he's not getting it. Basically, he's not getting the time. And then after that was when he said he was an arsehole and he didn't want to do business with him. And I think he just got himself into a little bit of a corner, because he's like, I don't want this fight. I don't want this fight.
Yeah, I think that there's a world where he is trying to negotiate a serious contract for the fight. I seen him saying that he wants to be handsomely paid so that it doesn't matter if he wins or loses. Well, now, would he not have wanted that against Stipe? Is that not just being paid your worth in the UFC, asking to be paid your worth, if that's what he thinks his worth is? Or did he know that Stipe was coming in not the same Stipe and a bit sort of, it looked to me, Stipe, like he was malfunctioning in there. There was times where like Jon Jones would throw a jab and pull out the pocket a little bit funny, a little bit weird, and Stipe couldn't even chase him, couldn't even get after him. His feet didn't work quick enough. Now, if that's Aspinall chasing him down, he closes the distance quick and lands some big shots.
I think Aspinall, if Jon Jones fights that way against Aspinall, he fought against Stipe, he pays dearly, to be honest. Pays very dearly. Because like you said, Aspinall is a lot quicker. He's gonna jump on them feints a lot more. He's gonna be throwing his own feints. He's gonna be putting his own game plan in there.
Yeah.
But I don't want to make this about Aspinall. So if I don't want to make this about Jon Jones v Aspinall. If Jon Jones doesn't fight Aspinall next, who can it be for Aspinall? Because he's got to fight for the title.
Yeah, well, it's hard, isn't it? Because he's pretty much ran through everybody. I think, do they do the Pereira fight? Do they do Aspinall versus Pereira? Who else is there a heavyweight who you think could give Tom a decent fight for the title?
There's only one for me, and he's lost the title to Jones, and it was Gan.
Yeah.
That's the only fight I can think of being. I can't see Dana doing the Pereira fight when he's saying that Jon Jones is too big for Pereira.
Yeah.
Because Aspinall's taller and
Bigger.
looks bigger than Jones. He is
Massively
taller,
bigger man, yeah.
I think isn't Tom like 6'5" and Jones is 6'4" or something.
Yeah, I think Jones is 6'4". Like, they'd be a similar height, won't he? But he's just a bigger frame and he's a bigger man. John Jones got really skinny legs and that, hasn't he?
So I can't see Dana then giving Aspinall Pereira if he's saying that Jones is too big for Pereira.
Yeah.
And that for me only leaves Gan, which, mate, if there's an undisputed fight for Tom Aspinall, great, but that doesn't get me that excited, to be honest with you.
Agreed. You want really, just from a selfish point of view, for Tom's legacy, you want him to take the belt off Jones and then go on a tear against all the top heavyweights then.
Yeah, and I think he would do that as well.
Yeah.
He's talking, isn't he? Like, he's got a few years left in the game, like quite a few years, and then he's happy to settle and all that. He likes to fight twice a year. You can run through the rest of them and some more up and comers, and then sail off with all the money in his pocket.
You are. I do find myself looking down at heavyweight rankings at the minute and thinking that there isn't really anybody who I think gives Tom a really tough fight. Now, obviously, at times you can be caught blindsided by fights, namely sort of like, I thought Pereira had run through Khalil Rountree and it was a cracker. So of course you can be blindsided, but I can't see a name in that top 15 at the minute where they give Tom serious problems. Like,
no, I agree. I don't want to just agree with you, but I do agree. I think Gan is probably the only one that I can see a method to, not necessarily victory, but a close fight. I don't think he won't beat him. I really don't. I think he's that good.
Yeah, I think Gan on the feet gives him some problems, but I think given how easily we've seen John Jones in his heavyweight debut take Gan down and do serious damage, I can't see why Tom couldn't do something similar. Genuinely do probably think, I'll be honest, I think John Jones is probably Tom's hardest fight.
Yeah.
And I'd still favour him.
Without doubt he is. Without doubt.
I'd still favour him, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to pull up the UFC heavyweight rankings because it's scarce for me.
There's 3 in there, isn't he, that he hasn't fought? Gan's 1. Is it
Jalton Almeida
and Jairzinho Rosenstrike or something like that? Is he even still in there?
Yeah, Jairzinho's 10. Now,
they're the 3, aren't they?
Don't particularly want to see him against Jairzinho ranked 10 at the moment. Like, he's beat Volkov, he's beat Pavlovich, he's beat Blades, and then you're looking light. You're starting to look down and just thinking, going to end up fighting as good mate Mick Parkin. He's in a 15, by the way, now, Mick Parkin. I never knew that.
I didn't. So well, there's 4 then. There's 4 in the top 15. He hasn't fought then, Mick Parkin.
I think there's a couple more, isn't there, between 10 and 15. I was just going 1 to 10 there. I think, like, 11, Derek Lewis, he hasn't fought him.
Yeah.
Bam Bam Tuivasa 11.
That was the fight I wanted when he beat Volkov at London.
Yeah.
That was the next fight at that point, because Bam Bam was on like a 2 or 3 fight win at that point. And then Bam Bam ended up fighting Cyril Gane, didn't he?
Yeah.
I was good to the bad action. I thought him v Tom would have been boss. But now it doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
Yeah. I've got, once a week on this podcast, I like to do my little out there shout, don't I? And I've got my absolute out there shout. UFC Saudi Arabia crossover, John Jones versus Francis Ngannou. I reckon Tom's going to get left to the wayside. I've just got a funny feeling. I've seen Dana's been in that Turk Al-Asis's pocket a few times lately, and I think it's going to be a UFC Saudi and there's going to be a crossover, unless Tom gets the call and it's Tom versus Francis and John opts out.
Nah, Francis doesn't fight in the UFC again. You were out yesterday, weren't you? You're still fucking pissed, you lad.
Money talks, mate. Money talks.
Dana hates him.
Mate, Frank Warren and Eddie Hearn didn't speak for about 19 years. And then all of a sudden, money talks and the best mates.
They're more reasonable than Dana, I reckon.
I don't know, I think money talks and people dance for it.
Don't disagree with that, but I think Dana's got a massive ego. Probably the biggest in the whole of any combat sport. And I don't think he goes back on this thing with Ngannou. It's a big shame, because if Ngannou's in that title picture, mate, there's some exciting. No matter who he fights, whether it was Jones or Aspinall or any of them, it'd be great.
Yeah.
But he's going to carry on fighting tin cans over in
It'd make for a seriously impressive title picture, though, wouldn't it, in the UFC now? If Ngannou was in the mix and you had Francis, you had Tom, you had John Jones.
Yeah.
It'd make for certainly a bit of a better title picture.
Yeah, it would. And then for Jones, I mean, he can't fight Derek Lewis. It makes no sense. You've just said that he's ranked number 11.
Yeah.
And whoever the other fellow was, I remember thinking that was bizarre as well. And then, is he really going to cut back down to light heavy after putting on, I mean, unless it's a catch weight or something like that?
I don't really know if he could he? What did he weigh in at? About 235 or something, was it, bro?
35, yeah.
Yeah, about 235. I don't think he could lose another 30 pounds at his age, could he? Like, it'd be a tough cut, that, like.
Yeah.
So I think he's stuck at heavyweight, or maybe, as you say, like a catchweight 220 with Pereira or something like that. But
yeah.
I don't know. I don't know where he goes. And to be honest, I'm not that excited about him. I'm not as excited. Everyone's like going on John Jones. I'm not that excited about him when he's talking the way he's talking. If he said that after the fight, right, didn't want to talk about Tom before it, get me in there with Tom now, I'm ready. I've had 2 heavyweight fights and I'm ready, I'd be excited. But the way he's talking, it's lost me a bit.
Yeah, I agree. One thing I am excited about, though, is Charlie Olives being right back in that title picture.
Love the fella, honestly, love the fella. He's rapidly becoming one of my favourite fighters.
Yeah, he is. It's like the sort of the going now, you Justin Gaethjes and stuff like that are all kind of moving on. And to be fair, if Charles Oliveira got beat there, he might have done, I don't know, he might have done, he's kind of in that stage himself, but he's got that win. He can't trouble Islam. I'm not overlooking Armin, but the Islam rematch is kind of the big North Star, I'd say, for him. And that fight with Michael Chandler just went exactly how we called it, really.
Yeah, it was probably even more one-sided than we called it, wasn't it? Yeah. I think he won every minute of the first 4 rounds, and but for a few rabbit punches in the back of the head in the 5th, he probably would have won that as well. That refereeing in that 5th round is absolutely wild. Like, some of the injuries you can get from getting punched in the back of the head, and he let him take 5 or 6 big shots to the back of the head. That is wild and needs to be sorted quite quickly.
Ones as well. Like, not
even if you're not a fan of the sport, you'd watch that and go, "Bloody hell, is that allowed?"
Yeah.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? It's not like he was sort of compromised, or Charles was turning his head as he was throwing shots. Charles' head was face down, just getting smashed in the back of his head.
I love Chandler. Like, he's all for the entertainment. I don't think you ever watch a fight, no matter what he does.
Yeah.
Come out of it going, "Oh, that was boring," or "I don't want to see it again." But it's clear to me that he is just in it for that. And I don't know if maybe that changed in the first round, because going into that fight, he said everything right. Charles beat me, took me dream away, all this stuff. This is like perfect, back in the title picture, this, that, the other. And then maybe after the first couple of rounds, he thought, shit, I can't beat him. I may as well just have a laugh on it,
Yeah.
But the way that fight ended said to me that Chandler isn't there for that title picture, and that's fine. Maybe he's in a similar place to John Jones, where he's like, I just want these fun fights now.
Yeah.
He's saying, I don't think he's got the BMF fight that he's saying he's got, like, with Max, because it doesn't really make sense. Someone's got to fight Max who's coming off a win, for me, rather than coming off a loss. Even though Max is coming off a loss, he still holds the belt at that weight. So you've got to be coming off a win at that weight to fight him. And obviously, the Conor fight is always going to be there until either one of them dies, to be honest. But
which might not be far away with Conor, the way he's living.
Yeah, he's on the edge, isn't he? But Chandler for me is gold. I'd watch any fight. I'd watch him fight anyone.
Contentious for me. I don't enjoy him that much. I don't enjoy his personality that much. I don't enjoy his fight style that much.
No.
I think he does love to throw caution to the wind, and you can't knock a fella who gets in there and is willing to have a proper knock. But for me, on Saturday night, there was just a clear skill gap. Like, it was so apparent. Like, on the feet, it was so apparent. On the ground, so apparent. He couldn't have won in any facet of the fight, apart from a lucky dig, maybe, or a lucky punch, or the referee not calling 6 shots to the back of the head. That was the only way he was going to win that fight.
He did rock him, though. He rocked him before the 6 shots to the back of the head on the feet.
Yeah, but he done like an eye poke. He looked like he'd been poked in the eye, didn't he, Charles? He was like rubbing his face.
Yeah, that's a bit of a veteran move, though, as well.
It was a good shot, yeah.
Veteran move, but I mean, you can't say Chandler's bought. Forget about that fight, because it was in hindsight a skill difference, a big skill difference.
Yeah.
But his other fight, you can't say, like, it's not a likable style. I don't.
I don't find him boring at all. I just think for me, he's a fighter who could perform at such a higher level, and he does. I feel
Mm.
like he's got talent. He's clearly a good wrestler. He's clearly a powerful striker. I feel like he's got talent. He just gets caught up in the whole WWE of it all. And I'm sorry, but them call outs after the fight are cringy as anything.
It's probably old school wrestling.
Yeah,
For me, he's an athlete who fights, not a fighter
yeah,
who's an athlete. He's an athlete who fights,
yeah,
which athletes who fight can be world champions. Marab, you could argue, is an athlete who fights. He's got, like you said, that weaponized cardio and stuff. Chandler's a slightly different one. He's more of an explosive athlete that fights, and that's where his wrestling that he doesn't even use could definitely get him further in the division.
yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, just on them call outs, Matt, like I said, Max doesn't make sense.
No.
The Conor fight, I said on last week's pod, I thought that there was something going on with Conor that we
Yeah.
didn't know because he weren't booked. And obviously this case is going on at the minute, which it went on the wraps, but it was not in the news in the UK at all, was it? Like,
We hadn't seen that at all.
Dana obviously will have known that. And to be fair, Dana was always saying last year, like, Conor weren't going to fight. And then he announced the fight out the blue, didn't he? So I think Dana's knew all of this is coming with this case and whatever's going on. And then Dana's also come out and said he doesn't fight till late 25.
Yeah.
Which there's a big gap there. So
Yeah.
again, that says to me there's something else coming down the pipeline for it. Mightn't be another case, it could be another film or another business he's dropping or anything like that. But Dana seemed pretty sure he was fighting late 25, which says to me there's something else going on with him again that's going to stop him from fighting. So McGregor v Chandler also doesn't make sense because Chandler's not going to wait that long.
Yeah, it's as we've touched on it before, but the lightweight, like sort of top 10, top 15 now is a bit of a strange one because I feel like there's about 7 or 8 fighters who are kind of on that trajectory and then another 7 who are on the downward. And I don't know whether Chandler might get matched with someone else who's on a bit of a downward, someone coming off a loss, or does he get thrown in like a Beneil Dariush? Does that do anything for anyone really? Does Chandler kind of, as you say, he's captures the fans maybe a little bit. He's got a bit about him. Does he get maybe a Paddy fight? Someone on the come up? Is the potential for that? For Paddy to go and take his spot? You don't know, do you?
I like that. I like that a lot. I haven't thought about that. There was one for me that's a bit outlandish, but I'd throw it out there and it'd be a barn burner. We've seen it before, but then it can lead into something else for both of them. And I think the Poirier rematch, and the winner fights Max for the BMF.
Yeah,
they've both lost recently. Poirier's definitely only got 1 or 2 more.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Wants his last one to be Louisiana, doesn't he?
Yeah.
He really hates Michael Chandler.
Yeah.
And a sayonara fight for Poirier for the BMF.
Yeah, I think my only negotiation point to that was, does Poirier does he have 2 left? But if, Poirier could sit out, couldn't he? Maybe Poirier could.
He said, didn't he? He said, he spoke to the UFC and they're going back to Louisiana.
Yeah.
And later next year, like second half of next year.
Yeah.
And he said he doesn't necessarily want to wait that long, but he wants that fight to be his last.
Yeah.
He said, I could have basically, a fight in the middle, February, March time, and then retire in Louisiana, say July, August, or whatever that is.
Yeah.
But if the UFC goes to Louisiana in February, March, that would be him done. He just wants to retire in Louisiana.
Yeah. So he's got 1, potentially 2, provided he finishes in Louisiana.
Depending on time,
Definitely a fight you'd watch, and certainly would be sort of a co-main, wouldn't it, on a big card with a title fight on it? Could even potentially headline a card, couldn't it? Really?
Yeah, I think it could.
Given the size of the names involved, so I'd be interested in that. But I can't see a world where Chandler fights someone now like a Dariush or like a Fiziev or even like a Moicano, Saint Denis to that extent. Maybe Moicano because he's on the way up, but other than that, I can't see a world where he fights them. I think his next fight's going to be like a Poirier, a Gaethje, a Conor, something like that.
Yeah. He's fought 2 of them, hasn't he? I mean, the next fight for him is Conor.
It is, yeah.
It does make the most sense, to be honest. But it also doesn't make sense because of timing.
Yeah.
He's going to have to sit out again. Unless Dana's wrong, which has been known in the past, but
yeah,
it sounded adamant to me that it was late 24 Conor coming back.
But I suppose that's sort of the middle to low ranks within the top 15. We should probably be talking about Charlie Olives and what chance do you give him, providing whoever wins the current title fight that's booked? Because I personally think that his first fight with Arman, I thought he won. So I know Islam dealt with him but he caught him, didn't he? And then dealt with him. So I don't know. Could Charles get the belt?
Yeah, absolutely. Charles could absolutely get that belt. The same way Arman could get the belt.
Yeah.
And I can see it being Islam v Charles too, if I'm honest. I think Islam retains it. And that is definitely the harder fight for Oliveira, by the way.
Yeah, I agree.
I kind of agree with the Arman shout. I wouldn't argue with you if he won.
Yeah.
I kind of thought Arman won, but it was close. And I had Charles on my bet as well. And he had the sub. He nearly had the sub, didn't he, in the last round as well? Yeah.
I think I watched it with my Charles goggles on because, as I say, I'm a massive fan. So
no, it was close. It was it was a close fight.
Well, it was a split decision, wasn't it? I think it was a split, wasn't it? So it clearly was close, and obviously judging's not always accurate, not always a good barometer. But for me, it was a really close fight, and I just thought Charles won. But
I think the lightweight division's in a very good spot, to be honest, because it's kind of the changing of the guard, isn't it? Where you've got your Gaethje's going, Chandler's out the title picture now. If he wins one, is he back in there again? I don't know. It's got to be a certain type of win, and it's got to be But I can't see that happening. And then you've got your up and comers, and you've also got Max coming into the division.
Yeah,
established. He'll definitely be looking at a shot at the title soon. And he's probably one win away from a title shot, really, Max.
Yeah,
lightweight.
Yeah, I think they've got him in like rank 7 or something, haven't he? So
if he fights any of them,
he's only going to be fighting up, isn't he? He's only fighting up, so
And then you've got the likes of Paddy, Moicano, coming through there. I've seen that they're signed to fight, and I've seen that they're not signed to fight. I reckon the London card in March has just been announced, hasn't it?
Yeah, I'm hoping that's Paddy Moicano, but
I reckon that'll be co-main. I can see Leon's talking about coming back in here. I can see Leon as a main event potentially.
Yeah.
A big part of me that hopes it's Tommy Aspinall, but I can't see them doing that on I don't want them to do it on a late time either, so I can't see them doing it on a UK time.
I don't think he's going to fight for the undisputed, is he, in the UK? I wouldn't imagine. He might do a homecoming fight when he wins it, and against like a Pavlovich or whoever emerges as number one at that point. But I think if it's John Jones versus Tom Aspinall, it's not going to be in Manchester, is it?
London. No, I agree. I'd love it, but I agree. But yeah, I think the lightweight division's in a really good spot, and maybe just going back to Chandler, potentially he might fight a certain type of welterweight, someone in there that maybe is also no longer in the title picture and just wants to have a laugh and stuff like that. But other than that, I can't. There's no fight for me in my mind that makes sense other than Conor or potentially the Poirier rematch. Yeah,
I probably would say the Conor one's the only one for me that I can sort of make sense of, or Paddy on the come up, Paddy taking a spot.
I can't see him taking it, but I would love it.
We'll see.
And then the rest of the card for me was shite, to be honest with you.
No, not loads to speak about, and I need to apologise to the viewers for last week because Bo Nickel isn't what I thought he was.
Yeah, you do think about you were.
Yeah, I just need to admit I'm wrong. He's bang average. He's a good grappler. He's bang average in the cage, and now obviously he's young in the sport and his ceiling's high given the wrestling he's got. But at the moment, he's not operating at any sort of level that'd worry anybody in that division. And the calls for Cam's are absolutely wild. No,
there's work to be done with Bo. I think he could be a very good contender. The likes of Islam and Khabib and how much their strike can come on. And
of course,
he's got a different style of wrestling, but he's probably the most established wrestler like they've had, kind of thing. But yeah, it's Swerve putting him on these main cards and giving him these good spots. Let's just let him build.
Yeah,
8-1 decision, by the way, and I had it on a double with a Michael Chandler decision. What was 12-1? Wow. I'm sure Oliveira decision was 6-1 because he was more favourite to either TKO or sub him. So it was a naughty bet to be won there.
Was it 8-1 decision? We said that on the pod, didn't we? Did we
Yeah,
say
I don't know. He was 8-1 and Chandler was 12-1.
Christ. I got caught up in the week thinking Paul Craig was going to catch him in a sub. So I ended up doing a Paul Craig sub, but Bo Nickel decision 8-1. That's wild, isn't it?
Crazy, innit? Next time that'll be way shorter.
Yeah, but it should have been shorter this time because it's not he gone to decision before, hasn't he, against Cans? Didn't he go to?
He went to the decision in his last fight.
Cody Brundage, was it or something? He went to decision.
So I think he kind of got caught up in the hype themselves. That's the thing with the UK odds, you can beat them. That's with fighters that they don't know a lot about and stuff coming through.
Yeah.
But I think that was the money maker there. You know what? Should have just done it on its own.
Yeah.
1-8-1 on its own.
At 8-1, yeah. You just have 10 quid on that. You've made yourself a nice little 80 quid, haven't you?
I mean, to be honest, said all week, John Jones by finish. Even if you just put a John Jones finish on it, would have been about 16-1 or something.
Yeah, you'd have got evens, wouldn't you, for the finish? Yeah.
But you live and you learn. But yeah, there's not much else on the end of the card. I'm not really bothered who Bo Nickel fights next or what's next for Paul Craig and stuff like that. The only thing I will say, Mauricio Ruffy is a G.
Mauricio Ruffy is ridiculous, and also I'd just like to give a shout out to Oban Elliott.
Oh yeah, the Welsh gangster.
Yeah. Serious scrapper from the UK again.
Yeah, I'd like to see him on that London card.
Yeah.
Get him on there, get Chris Duncan on there. Obviously, Paddy, Molly, Nathan Fletcher. Anyone like that. Maybe give a couple of debuts. They don't even need to give debuts out, to be honest with you. But
it'll be stacked. There's loads now, isn't it? It'll be absolutely stacked with UK fighters. The only other question on this card, though, what happened to Weidman? Fight got pulled.
Eric Anders was sick.
Was he? I only seen that after the fact. I was like, what happened to Weidman's fight?
Yeah. Eric Anders. I felt bad for Weidman next. He finally got back. He's in New York.
Yeah.
And all that, and just got pulled. But
you should have let him go in there and fight Bo Nickel.
Should just put him in there with John Jones, eh?
That'd be what John Jones is calling for next.
Yeah.
Weidman a heavyweight.
Yeah. See McGregor's tweet about Jake Paul.
That was awful, that.
Yeah. Rough one.
Need someone to fucking run his Twitter in.
He didn't delete it either for a good... I don't know if he's deleted it yet, actually.
He's got to be in bladdered, won't he? Need someone to start running his Twitter. As soon as he has a whiskey, someone should just take his phone off him.
Yeah, good luck. Would you? Once he's had the whiskey, mate, I'd stay clear of him.
Yeah,
don't anywhere near him, his phone, his pub or his house.
Absolutely not. I think we should stop that conversation there.
Yeah. I mean, good finish of the card. Weren't the best card for me. There's some exciting ones coming up.
Yeah.
But I haven't really got anything to say about it.
No, I haven't myself. To be honest, we said on the pod last week, didn't we? The card didn't ignite a fire in us anyway. So it just so happens that the card played out kind of as we expected, and the winners were kind of as we expected, and we move on to the next now. Yeah.
Well, we'll wrap it up there then for this week. Thanks everyone for watching. Please, if you can like, comment, subscribe, let us know below what you think of us. If there's anything more you want to see us talk about as well, let us know about that, and then we'll see you next time.